Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready for the drama presentation? Are you ready? Thank you, Mr. DJ, to warm the ground for the drama presentation. It is my honor and privilege to bring out to the floor the one and only Princess Lillicent. She is going to come and do her thing the way she knows how to do it. Without further ado, Princess Lillicent, come and do it. Thank you. Where is she? Yes, that's it. Does she know your song? That's yes. It's okay. It's okay. That's okay. Normally she has her own song. She doesn't dance any kind of song. But it's all right. We'll get it together. Thank you, Mr. DJ. Yes. That's okay. That's all right. No, I'm Babranka. Organize not this one. Thank you. That's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Princess Lillicent, just do it for us. Thank you. If you want change, we have a change table over here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want change, I want to appreciate you. We have a change table over there. Change table is over there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Give it up to Princess Lily. Lily, you did well. Thank you. With the energy, with precision. Yes, indeed, our ancestors will be resting in peace. Thank you. This is a warrior kind of dance. Thank you. You did well. Once again, Princess Lily said, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for it. Give it up to her. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. You all ready? Ready. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, my own family, sisters' family, are you ready? Are you ready for the drama of the century? Now, the drama team. Do your thing. Come on up. Drama team, ladies and gentlemen. Give the music as they come. Give the music, the drama is coming. Yeah. Just warm it up. The drama. The drama. Drama team. Thank you. Yes, the drama team, do your thing. Thank you.
Hello. They will know the drama is for the Igbo land. Igbo land. That's the drama we are performing today. And why Igbo took the decision that they took. Yes, sir. So that is the drama we are doing. No.
Okay. You see this computer? It does shoot it.
Also not for info. They look him, yeah. Oh, Igwe Gawo Bablasia. Hey! You want to get your money, you go the way on. Go back on. Hey! Eti igwe ka ihe ezigbo afọ ihe ezi afọ ka dị nwoke enyo anya ka ụkwụ ebi gwọrị gwọrị chekwa na ndị igwe nọ igwe chelu na igwe ya gwa ya ngwa igwe lekwe na-enye gol. Hey, igwe ife a na-enye ugwu igwe. Oh, nwoke a na-ata ka ahịa. Afọ ka ọ bụ gịnị? Nwekwara afọ. Enwere onye isi obodo ọgwọ ndị ọcha, isi onye ọcha, na-ekwe na isi onye ọcha, igwe na-enye isi onye ọcha. Isi onye ọcha, ọdọ nwoke ga-ayalụ mgbe nkwọ na-ebugharị. Mgbe nkwọ, igwe na-ekwe. Kedu ife ọ chọrọ? Kwuo. Si na ọ chọrọ. Ka ị gbalụ na. Osi otu a maa ka mụ ife ọ na-akọ. Osi isi gụnụ kwuo okwu. Igwe teta mmadụ ife ọ na-ekwu. Sige. Mba, mweho. Ụmụ bịa dị ka onye ọcha bịa sọrọ ya bekee ka mekọ na. Bịa kpọma. Onye gwara gị, ịbịakwakwala, ị na-eme anya nnukwu hapụ ya biko. Tapịara ihe na bekee a na-asị. Tapịara ya bekee sụkwa bekee. Igbe bekee asụ ndị Igbo asụ otu aka ga-esi elecha otu n'otu nwa nke ịma n'anya ore ose kedu nke ma ọ sọrọ gị jisikwa ike bịa ke ife oyi gọsịsa ka ọ gbago ka ọ gị oke ngwa chelu chief Jaguo and Igbo. Nwoke a Igbo ego ọ chọrọ ịbụ ndị denye ha ezigbo ofe mana ka mgbakọ ndebe anyị ka mmụọ ekwe ọwụrụ na ngwazi ha obodo kwelu. N'igwe nwere ife ọya gwụ ụlọ gbasara onye ahụ bịara ngwa bịara ekwuola m ya si Igbo eze Mozis ọgaranya nzie ya mana mgbe asị m ga-ebute ya mmeburu ezigo Mozis ọgaranya mana asịkwa m ji egwuo ya mmebi ya n'isi bịara mgbe ekekwa ụlọ na-ajụsa ajụ bịara okenye ga-achọ bịara na ndị okenye bịara o nwere ihe unu chọpụta hapụ Wake. Diana. Okay. Okuna. Lolo. Ngwa ụlọ ya abịa kunu solo nwoke a na-atachi acha kunu dị obodo ha. Unu eje o. Ka ụbọchị chenji elu unu ruo bute akụ. Unu bute akụ. Unu eje. Ifuru nwi na-aghọtasị ọnụ ihe eje. Iburu ego ahụ gosi m ego ayọrọ nya. Nye m ego ayọrọ ahụ ichi n'aka. Ka isoro ya ọchapụọ. Nye m ego ayọrọ ahụ. Nye m ego ayọrọ ahụ nye ya. Onye ọcha nwere ego ezigbo ego gburu bịa ba. Nye m ego ayọrọ. Solo ya ọcha na ngwa kpọrọ ha. Mba unu ya eje dabanụ unu ya eso onye ọcha dabanụ bịa a mezurukwa ndị a ziri onye ọcha m mezutere gị ndị a ka m zurukwe ndị a nee ka m zirekwu olu ndị a nee na nwa ife ọbara nee away you no pass away from the back solo ya naga solo no chaya kunu jengwe no solo ya chana solo no chana ono chaya no ono ye kuyu no ego sonyo chade ba o ye de naka jebe bulu solo ya chana akpọnyego ha kpọrọ ya na eziri m ọfụma Chineke nke kere igwe nke ụwa ama m ebe ndị ụmụnne m ha gara onye ọcha bịara asụcha bekee sụpụrụ onwezikwa onye m na-ahụ Chineke mepee n'anya m ka m mara ebe ha nọ ka m marakwa nke na-eme ha maka ọ nakwara ya arawa ahụ Chineke mepee n'anya m mepee anya m duru m ga ebe ndị nke m ha nọ ebe ka ndị Igbo gara ebe ka unu nọkwanụ Chineke na gịnị mere ana m anụ Chukwu a na-agba ha okwu n'ebe arụ eme okoko bi oko egwu ata bụ ntị egwu ata m ikwu n'isi na a na-akpọ ụmụnne mkpọga obodo ndị ọcha ka ha ga-agba ohu mbanụ Chukwu gwa m ihe m ga-eme gịnị ka m ga-eme ka m kpọpụta ndị nke m ha nọ n'ohu n'ebe a ka ha nọ ka m gaa ị wụrụ onye Igbo si na ị nọ n'ebe a mgbankwụọ mgbe orie agadi ngara ebe ka unu nọ dịkọ na n'ebe ọ gịnị mere onye mere unu ihe a abụkada enwere Chineke ha mere unu ihe a bịanụ abụrụ nwaanyị anya na-agba ohu onye ọcha gbafuo bịa ele nke na-eme onye ọcha mba ya pezikwara ọ pịala nnukwu All Piano, Putano, Onocha, Pudia, Poponia, Poponia. Okay, Genoa Martin Dr and our Kobo. Paul was so. Quanobo. Because one have a cake, I could be in a trouble to torture. I couldn't never, or didn't Mananti. Or didn't Mananti, I couldn't have. Piano can love because. Judania, to remember, I used to need a low. I got less here. Manono, I got to put in a memory. More curtain out in a bar. I see me better over. Mini Palapa, Mino Manokaka, get Siara, or getting a man, Onora, Makotanaka, Kana Basibia, Kana Basibia, or Kora, or Copia. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Give it up for the drama team. Give it up for the drama team, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. At this time, without wasting your time, we have a presentation. Once again, permit me to welcome the one and only Professor Teacher Kano Akuma for a presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor.
Permit me, I will sit down.
Okay. That's okay.
This was an attempt to dramatize Islamic fact that represents Igbo rebellion action. It is not as expected of Igbo to glorify suicide. But the suicide that happened in Igbo Landing is symbolic. It will become, it has become, and will continue to be a contact point for all Igbos, for all Gulagitis, for those in Gispe, Alabama, for those in Glynn County, for those in Snow Hill. That is where Spike Lee comes from. This journey started pulling all Igbos, including African Americans, together to cast the bond asunder. Today, this presentation, which they just did, successful or unsuccessful attempt shows the resilience, the fortitude of the Igbos. If you go to Igbo Landing and read here, no, you will not. But if you close your eyes for a minute, for 1 second, everybody here, close your eyes. Imagine the Igbo land far, far, far away. Where are we from to this Igbo Landing? Other places where Igbos are, for which, if we want to do human remains, to send their human remains back to Nigeria. Look at the crying. Look at the wailing. Hear them cry. Please, their cry be not in vain. Today, as we do celebrate, we celebrate of every slave thought, every slave that was ever not successful. God, there are those died in, those who died in the plantations, those everywhere. Please, God, bring us back home. Thank you very much. I know there are brothers and sisters who have been pursuing Igbo Landing studies for a long time. I will pass on to Dr. Thank you very much.
Do well, my brothers and sisters. I read you in the holy language of our ancestors, people. Udo Derege. Udo Derege. Well, peace to Nigeria in 2012. Well, by the way, this presentation, I didn't know what to name it, but I'm calling it the Reconnection. And I'm dedicating this particular my father, Njoku, teacher. He was the one that inspired me to do this. Reconnection, the reconnection. This is what we're all here for, and this is what it's all about. The reconnection of Black Americans, especially those of Igbo descent, to our Igbo ancestors and to our Igbo people. For me, in many ways, this is going full circle. To Igbo land. From Igbo land to Igbo Landing. This is my story. I've dedicated my life to this enterprise. And this is why I began the Landing Project. I'm the director of the. When I first went to land, when I first went to Nigeria, I should say, they wanted to know, why are you here? They asked me, why are you here? So, not yet. When I gave my first presentation, this is what I presented. This is how I presented myself when I gave my first presentation in Owerri. You would teach up. When I gave my first presentation in Owerri, my first public speech, this is how I answered them. I have a recording here that I'm hoping that will play. I'm trying to get the volume.
Dress pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food. How do you that? They lived in the attic, on the basement, but still lived near the master. And they loved their master more than the master loved himself. They were their life, putting the master with them. The house Negro, if the master said, we got a good house here, the house Negro said, yeah, we got a good house here. Still the master said, we. That's how you tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight hard to put the blaze out, the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, what's the matter? We sick. We sick. He identified himself with his master more than his master identified with himself. And if you came to the house Negro and said, let's run away, let's escape, let's separate, that house Negro would look at you and say, man, you crazy. What do you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this? That was that house Negro. In those days, he was called a house nigger. And that's what we call him today, because we still got some house niggers around here. This modern house Negro loves his master. He wants to live near him. He'll pay 3 times as much as the house is worth just to live near his master. And then brag about the only Negro out here. I'm the only one on my job. I'm the only one in this school. You're nothing but a house Negro. And if someone come to you right now and separate, you say the same thing house Negro said on the plantation. What you mean separate? From America? This good white man? When you gonna get a better job than you get here? I mean, this is what you say. I ain't left nothing in Africa. That's what you say. Why you left your mind in Africa?
He said, you left your mind in Africa. Okay. So when they said, what you doing here? Why you? I've come here to get my mind back. That's why I'm here. The reconnection of Black Americans to African roots, generally and particularly the reconnection of Black American of Igbo descent, as verified by genealogical and genetic research in the Igbo ethnic group of Nigeria in the territory given the name of Biafra. We were taken from the Bight of Biafra and brought to Igbo Landing. Next slide. I want to give you the story. Can you click on that? You click on that where it says the Budagichi ring shouters perform. Will it still? Okay, yeah. All right, okay. We'll skip this part. We'll skip this part. It's okay. If it's not going to play right away, then I'll just skip this part. Because we're going to see the Guligichi ring shouters come here to perform. I wanted to play this video because in the video, they verify the fact that they are descendants of Igbo and that they have kept their history, their ancestry, their culture, and their connection to Igbo through song, singing, dancing, and shouting. We're going to witness that tomorrow. That's going to be the highlight of our presentation tomorrow. The Guligichi shouters. The reconnection. Next slide. Now, I want to give you just a little bit of a story of how I came into the consciousness of Igbo Landing. I didn't know anything about Igbo Landing before when I went to Nigeria for the first time. In fact, when I went to Nigeria for the first time, I didn't know anything about Igbo Landing. When I went to Nigeria, I did not even know I wasn't Igbo. I didn't know I had Igbo descent. I didn't know. I went to Nigeria for a totally different purpose. When I went to Nigeria, I found very few people that knew anything about who I was, where ancestors came from, and that my ancestors were separated from Igbo land through the transatlantic slave trade. They didn't have that knowledge. It's not taught to them in school. The slave trade is not taught in the curriculum in the history department in Nigeria anywhere. And so I was so incredulous over this. I said, I have to tell my brothers and sisters about the transatlantic slave trade. And so I started to research about the transatlantic slave trade, share it with them. And when I did, I came across some of these images here. You see this here? This is an African woman. This is a sculpture that is underwater, and she's praying. I found a whole lot of sculptures that were made of slaves, and the sculptures were underwater. These pictures that I'm going to show you is actually from a sculpture park that is underwater off the coast of Grenada. And when I saw these images, I put these images to verse. So here's the first. Save me, O waters are come unto my soul. Next slide. All these images are from the underwater park off the coast of Grenada. You can't see that because of the light. But this is an African. His hands are outstretched to God, is all underwater, and I put it in verse. Out of the depths, I cried to thee, Lord. Next slide. Waters flowed over mine head. Then I said, I am cut off. Next slide. I cry unto thee, and thou dost not hear me. I stand up, and thou regardest me not. This is an underwater sculpture. I shall bring up the deep upon thee, and great waters shall cover thee. All these are Bible verses that I put to these pictures. Hand from above, rid me and deliver me out of great waters, from the hand of strange children. Next one. For thou hast cast me into the deep, in the midst of the seas, and the floods compassed me about all thy billows, and thy passed over me. Next one. I sink in deep mire, where no standing. I am come into deep waters, where the floods overflow me. I will bring my people again from the depths of the sea. Thou which hast showed me great and sore troubles shalt quicken me again, and shalt bring the depths of the earth. All these are underwater sculptures. And while I was doing this about these underwater sculptures, and I was putting these to verse, I came across this. And that's when I found out about what happened at Igbo Landing. I found this while I was doing this research about what happened to the slaves in the transatlantic slave trade. And I came across this. Umiri umma Bulani Bia Omri Umapala. Say.
Orimili Omambala Guaye Bia, Orimili Omambala Kaye Gejina.
That is what I discovered while I was doing this research. And so I started about doing this research on what happened at Igbo Landing. And while I was doing this research, that's when I came across this man. And that I got about Igbo Landing, I learned from doing my research from what Dr. Douglas Chambers had written and said about the history of Igbo Landing. And I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who he was. Until I met my brother right there. I thought he was black. I thought he was a black man. I'd never seen him. And when I met him in May, I was shocked. I said, "You are Dr. Chambers?" From 2012 to this year. That's when I discovered. So I owe a lot of my research to what he had done. I'm actually piggybacking on Dr. Douglas Chambers. But that is how I came into the conscience of Igbo Landing. And then I went to Igbo Land. That's me right there. That's when I discovered I was an Igbo. I'm going to tell you the story about how I discovered I was an Igbo. When I first went to Igbo Land and I was in your court, I didn't know I was an Igbo. I went there as a Fula. My DNA said I was Fula. And when I went to Igbo Land, I went to tell him, I was doing research on the Igbo to tell him that his were ancient and that they were the end. That's why I went there. But while I was sitting in his court, while I was sitting in his presence, I got who was doing my DNA on my Logos DNA. And when he sent me out to Logos DNA result, it said 49% Igbo. Someone said 100%. And if you remember the Ezra, if you remember, Catherine Achulona was sitting there, and she jumped up, and she said, "He's Igbo." And I was welcomed. That's me right there, sitting before the Ezra, and the Ezra gave me a name. What name did you give me, Ezra?
His name is Elomono. Prince Elomono, Iri.
That's what happened right there. He gave me that name. He welcomed me and the entire cabinet welcomed to the Igbo. And so that's me here. Here's my name, Prince Elomono I of Udu Iri Kingdom. Emuno is an Igbo name that means I arrived home. The allusion is on the arrival of a male child back to his place of origin. The name bearer is prayed to take leadership in the diaspora family to ensure their reconnection to their ancestral African heritage. The Igbo Landing project was something that I was told to do by the Ezra. And I've taken up that. There he is, holding his fly risk. Next slide. Let's go quickly because I'm moving on my time. Then I went through the ceremony. As far as I know, this was the first that happened, where I was going through a ceremony to cleanse me of the stigma of slavery. And this was a ceremony that was done for me when I was welcomed into the Igbo community. I went through a special ritual cleansing from the slavery that I had received from. Continue. The Ezra washed my hands with the sacred and holy water of Mabala. That's him doing it right there. He actually went to the river, bought the water, and washed my hands and my feet that water. He washed my feet with the sacred water of Mabala. His Eminence, the Ezra washed my feet with the free soil before the holiest shrine in Anamba, Ubu Uga, also as Ubu Gad. This is where it happened. Press that again. There you go. The Ezra has completed the anointing of my hands and my feet with the sand and the free soil of every land. Great is it, the holiest and most spiritually powerful king priest to me. You know, when they slave on Epilary's ground, when they go on, that's holy ground. Where that is holy ground. You know how some people go to Jerusalem because it's a holy city? Some people, they go to Mecca, they make a pilgrimage. This is where we go to make our pilgrimage, right here. That's what the Igbo Landing Project is doing. We're trying to bring those who are of Igbo descent back to Igbo land. From Igbo Landing to Igbo land. This is what we're trying to do, to bring them back, and that is where we go through this ritual that cleanses us of the stigma of slavery. When a slave set foot on the land of El Valeri, the moment he sets his foot on that land, he is free. That's what I learned when I went to I learned that from the Ezra. I learned that. Next one. While he is washing my hands in the free soul of every land, he is prophesying and pronouncing blessings on me the whole time, though I didn't understand one word. But I took it all in, and I accepted it all. And this is what you see me doing because of that lesson. He washed my feet with the free soul of every land. Next slide. The Ezra greeted me as a returned son of Eri, one who has returned to the land of his ancestors, touched holy ground, making me a free man, and cleansing the abomination of slavery from me and my ancestors who were the descendants of captive Africans taken from their ancestral motherland. What I experienced, the significance of what I experienced made this the happiest day of my life. This happened in July 2012. Around the 4th of July. Later, at the Obala Annual Erie Festival and Igbo Landing Commemoration, I baptized at the waters of Omambala River in El Valeri, and that's it right there. When that happened. So that's what the Igbo Landing Project is all about. I've put up my time, so I think I better give it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please give it up for him once again. The true son of the soil. Yes. Yes. I am sure without a doubt, our ancestors, even as you speak, they are so proud of you. Thank you. to give us another short presentation. Permit me to welcome Dr. Udezua. Doctor.
Igbo kwenu, Igbo kwenu, Igbo kwenu. As Iluomuno was talking, I started to be at how we all come to the same thing through different ways. The underwater sculptures that he mentioned in Grenada actually interested me very much when I first saw them. And he mentioned Catherine Acholonu. Catherine Acholonu features in a book I have written about Igbo heroes, where this incident of Igbo Landing is also mentioned. So like him, you can ask, why did I write a book about Igbo heroes? His explanation is very different from my own. And it goes like this. When we were at school and doing history in secondary school, they were telling us things like Mongo Park discovered the source of River Niger. And I just said, there was something that was there and people were there. And then they said, Christopher Columbus discovered America, but there were people in America at that time. And some of you, the late Genoa Martin, who wrote Things Fall Apart. One of his favorite sayings was that until the animals write their own history or have their own historians, the story of the hunt will always be that of the hunter. So that was what spurred me on. I'm not a historian by training. By training, I'm a medical doctor, but some of these things have been playing on my mind over the years. And so at one time, I thought I would try to put some of them into practice, not just read about them. And as an example of the kind of thing that happens when the animals do not write their own story, I came across this newspaper I published locally when I came into town yesterday. On the second page, it has 1/4 page of Festival to Remember Igbo Landing. And then if you turn pages afterwards, you find a full page with color pictures devoted to something about historical society, Second World War series, full page, color pictures. And I said to myself, well, if one of us were writing this story, perhaps this space or is allocated to these two items should be reversed. But anyway, that's just me thinking. So, I've called my presentation Up from Slavery. You will be familiar with that term. It was the title of a book written by Booker T. Washington, the founder of the Institute. And I called it Igbo Landing, Up from Slavery, a mirror of Igbo spirit. Why do I think it's a mirror of Igbo spirit? Well, this book of Igbo heroes talks about other slaves other than the ones who were prominent in Igbo Landing. One of them was a man called Olaudah Equino. Does that ring any bell with anybody? Okay. Olaudah Equino wrote a book about his experiences of being a slave, buying his freedom, and some of the horrible things he experienced, and was very active in the movement to abolish slavery. Next slide. And in the end, he bought freedom, turned down a request that should have made him materially wealthy by being in partnership with his master, because he thought that the risk to his freedom would be too much. He didn't think that he should risk it just for the sake of material prosperity. So if we go, can we have the next slide? So we're going to talk about these heroes, see what prominent in the lives of some of them, and then see what lessons we can learn and how those lessons can help us. You may know that apart from the incident of Igbo Landing, there were in fact many other resistance actions, or what we should call slave revolts. But the Igbo Landing was a landmark one, because from it arose so many things that happened. Next slide. Sorry, go back to the one that just went on. No, next one. Right. Olaudah Equino have mentioned Igbo Landing happened in 1803. And then there was King Jaja, who founded Opobo town. You may also know about King Jaja. As everybody here comes from the same town as King Jaja of Opobo. King Jaja was captured as a boy of 12 and sold some slave masters in Bonny, where some of the slaves were used to run the houses that took goods from Europe and European traders, and then take them in their small boats up the creeks of the River Niger from Bonny inland. He showed very good initiative at the very early times, which his original master misunderstood. He said that he was almost too clever for his station, and therefore he sold him to somebody else, which was a mistake, as he will find out later, because something happened along the way, and Jaja then showed who he was by coming to the rescue of one of the prominent houses that was about to collapse and rescued it from almost going under. But later on, some misfortune came on his boathouse, and the people who didn't like him, who were his enemies, just waited until they were in their straits when a fire destroyed a lot of their boats, and then they provoked a fight and attacked them. They fought for a while, and they thought that because of Jaja's kind of very strong personality, resisting things he didn't like, that he will continue to fight to finish. But he surprised them because he sued for peace, and whilst they were still negotiating, he moved his people eastwards towards the estuary of the Imo River, and there he founded a town, the town of Opobo. In Bonny, where he was very prominent, he could be the leader of the house, but he could never be the king because of his slave origins. But in Opobo, which was a new town founded by himself, he grew up and became the king of the town. There were other incidents and conflict with the British traders, the British consul, deception, perfidy, and all that. In the end, they pretended they were doing some negotiation with him, got him aboard a boat, and then put him through a mock trial and exiled him, and he died in exile. But in Opobo town today, evidence of who he was there, because there's a big statue of himself and so on. And then, of course, there were other stories that showed the same kind of survival under very difficult circumstances. The Biafra story is only one of them. There was the women's protest movement, which, again, in history books, wrongly called the Aba Women's Riot. It was not a riot, it was a protest. It didn't take place in Aba. Aba was the town where the inquiry was held. But the British called it a riot, because if you call something a riot, then you can justify whatever actions you took in order to crush it. So these are some of the things that happened. Can I have the next slide? No, the next one. Forwards. So then, what do we learn? No, forward. Keep going. So what do we learn from these slave resistance stories? Right, stay with Olaude Ekwina. Olaude Ekwina resisted being called different names at different times in his life because he didn't want to be a nobody. And for that, he had some very serious punishment, including being laid out and flogged very mercilessly. And then his master promised him his freedom if he would be able to afford the £40 he had paid for him at that time. But because of how diligent he was in the work that he was doing, he was allowed to do some trading on the side. And from that, through being focused on the wanted, hard work and thrift, he was able to buy his freedom in about 1766 when he was 23 years old. His master later confessed that he offered him his freedom if he could afford it, because he didn't think he would be able to afford it. But anyway, soon after that, he offered him partnership with him, but as I said earlier, he turned that down because he thought that his freedom was more important at that point than material prosperity. And then throughout his life, after writing his book and making some money with it, he used a lot of the proceeds first to gain independence from some of his sponsors, and then to support other people who were less fortunate than himself, including even living charity in Sierra Leone, from where he was captured originally, or where he had some of his training. Next one. From King Jaja of Opobo, we find that having initiative, being dogged and assertive, and having good organizational ability and business acumen, honesty and thrift and all that are things that would help you to do well in pursuit of your goals. So, how do we, or what do we learn from all these people? Part of what I'm doing with this book is that I'm trying to use it to spur our young people to imitate the lives of the heroes who did very diligent work over a period of time, persistence, and not to think that you could overnight become a rich man, become a famous man, and that kidnapping people, stealing, thievery, and all the things that people do in order to get very quick material progress, that those ways are not the way to go at all. And that in the lives of the heroes, we'll see examples that we can follow to help us to carry on in life. So in conclusion, Igbo Landing was a big landmark in the story of Africans to assert themselves and resist what is not right for them, even though it's cost them dearly. But in fact, it showed the spirit of our people in how they can put what we consider right qualities and pay the price when it matters. And we of this age should, from their history, see how we can use our brains and the lessons we learn from their lives in order to fight some of the obstacles that we face in our own lifetime. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Once again, give up to our own and only doctor. Yes.
Sorry, I forgot to say that I came with a few copies of this book. It's on the market for $50 a piece, but I got a few copies. And anybody who can pay cash can get a 20% discount or have it for $40.
Thank you so much. Your heart. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been quite an eventful moment. Memorable one indeed. We're not closing yet. We have this hall till 9 o'clock. It's going to be dance, till 9 o'clock. So I encourage you all to come and shake off the 5, if you will. But before that, permit me once again to welcome the one and only chairman planning committee of this amazing event, Engineer Emeka Wosu, for a kind of a closing remark.
Thank you, Mr. MC. Well, as you all know, this type of occasion is opened by introducing to you those who are behind the event tonight and behind CISA. We didn't talk too much about CISA today because of the way we started. Early in the morning today, we went to Igbo Landing. After Igbo Landing, some people went to the plantation, Henrietta, Madam Henrietta's plantation, and Eze and the entourage and Ono, all of them went there. And you all know the trip took a while, so our program today kind of went zigzag. But you are being the patient human beings, and I know almost everybody here has a DNA pointing towards Igbo land. We are patient people, and you all were so patient and been around, experienced the little we have for today. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And before I go further, please, I'm going to call on the president of CISA to be here while we do this little closing remark, because I would like for him to at least say something. Please, my fellow engineer, Umelkwe James, please come out here. I can tell how good and how much we work together. I will let CISA members tell the story. I will give you this after I finish, and I'm just going to use the opportunity I have to thank quite a few people. I'm going to start with Eze. Chief, Eze, I'm a Glynn County. Ono asked me to write him, let him come and be with us. He never says no. I want to thank our Ono, none other than Ono. When we wanted to transit from Igbo village to here, we thought that's going to be it. Nobody will show up, nobody will be part of this. Ono will say, just go on, do it. And here we are today, in a whole new place that is so good, welcoming. I want to thank teacher. The story of teacher, if we start talking about it, will be all night. So I'm just going to say, thank you, teacher. Dr. Davis. Dr. Davis, again, he said a lot about himself. So any one of you that doesn't know Dr. Davis before, at least tonight, knows who he is. Or do I say Dr. Chambers? The one that just spoke before he sat down, Dr. Deswell, all the way from London, UK. He called me on the phone, he saw our flyer. Look, I'm going to be there. I wrote a book about Igbo Land. I'm going to be there. And I thought he was kidding. Send me a letter. I sent him a letter. Boom, he bought his ticket, and here he is today, talking with us. Thank you again. What about the You don't need introduction. Tomorrow, you're going to be on this mic. You're going to have at least a few minutes on this mic. Again, I thank you. The same story. You want to follow Eze. I thought you were kidding. All of a sudden, they say you're on the airplane coming. And thank you again, my brother. I thank everybody that came tonight. Thank you so much. Tomorrow, we're going to have a full program from 9 a.m. all the way to 9 p.m. And it's going to be very entertaining. Tell your friends. I have a lot of people calling my phone, calling it up today. What's the program for tomorrow? Tomorrow is a full day, 9 o'clock to 9 p.m. We are going to have a blast of a day tomorrow. So I want to use this opportunity to hand this mic over to our president, James Ogoka Umegwe. And after that, I will let the teacher pray for us. And after praying, I think Eze will have to go back and get some rest against tomorrow. And the rest of us can stay back and enjoy ourselves for the rest of the evening. Thank you all so much.
Thank you all so much for answering this call. In fact, it was a clarion call. Why do I say it was a clarion call? Because finally, we have hoisted our flag at Igbo Landing. So you may not have seen a fabric on that flag. You may not have seen a column on that flag. You may not have seen the pole. But you have seen the sand and the water that Ezra picked from the Dunbar Creek. And that sand is going back to the Omambala, to Igbo land. And that is exactly the connection that brought us to Igbo Landing. So you have seen that this is a way for us to connect to our brothers and sisters. Igbo Landing is not something that we started talking about today. It's been in the news everywhere, but all of a sudden, the Council of Igbo States is beginning to create the awareness. That means we are one people, one destiny, and the one voice. That is what the Igbos are known for. We do not want anybody to hold us down. Freedom started from the Igbo land. And we say, Igbos, the future is Igbo, and Igbo is the future. Thank you all for coming. And to all that has come to bless us with Eze, everybody on the high table, thank you for the good work that you have been doing, and we know you will continue to do that. And for our friends, our brothers and sisters that are here today, please come back tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be filled with a lot of excitement. The Council of Igbo States, what do? We preserve Igbo culture. We promote Igbo culture all over the world. And that is the way we want to make sure that this generation and the one that is coming, come together, our African American brothers and sisters, not just here, even in Europe, in the Caribbean countries, islands, we want to work together. We want to work together and recreate the Igbo nation the way it was supposed to be. Thank you, and God bless you all. Teacher for the closing prayer, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Shall we stand, please, if you can? Oh, God. You have seen us as we are. You have led the day, right or wrong. Forgive us if there was any part of this occasion that was gone amiss. But in the end, what a glorious thing. God, you the Creator, this night, as we go, lead us to our different homes in peace and bring us back here tomorrow for a successful event. We pray in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord.
Thank you, everybody. DJ, take it from here. Take it from here, DJ.
Stanley. Music, my dear.
Lazy one now, my guys, and now,
You feel free to come and dance. Come and dance, please. Feel free, just come and dance. Thank you. You know just say my yes in your or make good. Why are we there? One good time deserves another. Okay, so I'm going to love you, you're going to call yes, you want to make it, you want to make it. Yes, you want to make it, you want to make it. Every guy in there, I'm not going to let it go. Let you break it, why don't I make it? Baby, I need to break it, why don't I make it? As I'm not one, you know. It don't matter.